Good evening. We're going to go ahead and call our meeting to order, and let's open up with a word of prayer. Our Father, we thank you for giving us the opportunity to assemble one more time to discuss our citizens' issue and for our community and things that are going on in our area. We ask you to come into our meeting, guide and lead us in the way you will have us to go. And we hope that something will be said and done that we might be able to agree or disagree in love. We ask you to bless everyone that's here tonight, bless the ones that's on the way. This is our prayer. We ask in your name. Amen. Amen. I'm going to just make a couple of announcements, and then because we got a full schedule tonight, and want to make sure that everybody know who I am. I'm Eugene, the chair of the South CAC. And we welcome everybody that's here tonight, and I'll make some other remarks at the end when we're going through. But I got on my notification, we got a new registered neighborhood, Camelot Village, HOA. Are they here tonight? Oh, all right. You want to introduce yourself? We want to welcome you, so introduce yourself.
I'm Christy Payne, HOA president of Camelot Village. The community started off, about 3 years ago, about 100 and something houses, and then about a year, 2 years ago, they built on another 100 or so houses, and now we're fixing to get a bunch of townhomes and a few more houses, so we're just steady growing, but it's been a lot of fun. Where is it? Oh, Southeast Raleigh. It's really close to Gardner.
Yes.
Off Rock Quarry.
Okay, thank you. Did you raise your hand?
No, sir.
Yes. All right.
My name is Marshall Williams, and I'm also with the Camelot Village, and I'm a member at large on that team.
Well, we welcome you, and we hope this won't be your last meeting.
This one,
okay. Because I heard her bring up some things, and that's what CAC is about, to bring your issues in and see if we can do something about them or take them to the city to try to see what we can do as far as helping your area, as far as safety, environment, and different things that go on in our neighborhood. Okay?
thank you very much.
All right. All right, we'll go right into our report. Adam, you ready to give, he did give a thing here. I think he's going to speak on it, so I won't speak on it, Adam. He's the manager for our community center here.
Good evening, everybody. Again, Adam Sproles here, director of Sanderford Road Recreation Center. Quick update on some of the stuff we've done previously. We just went through the Halloween season, had 2 events, one successful because we got to have it, and one not successful because weather didn't allow us to have it. Well, the weather was confusing on Halloween, so we had to cancel, but then it didn't rain because weather, you just never know. Hopefully y'all saw the flyer that we had out in the back with some adult programming that we're going to be doing, starting up some new opportunities. The first one will be tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, the basics of estate planning. Tomorrow at 11 o'clock, free program. Just show up, we'll get you registered into our system, and that'll kind of help us be able to send you out information for other programming, whether educational, fitness, computer, any of that stuff that we're going to be trying to do in the future. The other one is on November 21st. That is a Thursday. Again, a free program here at the center at 11 a.m. Any questions about that program or anything upcoming, let me know. Anything of interest that you would like to do, let me know. The goal is things that you might see in our leisure ledgers or on the website for adult programming. That primarily kind of happens, you see the centers up in 5 Points or that way. If you see something there, you say, you know what, I'd love to do that, but I can't get to 5 Points. Let me know, and we're trying to bring that stuff down here to make it more accessible to this side of town, so that Southeast Raleigh can have the same access to the programming that those in the north side can have. So there's anything that you see, please let me know. We'll try to be able to get those instructors, whether that be fitness, education, or otherwise, here at this site. Thank you. Y'all have a good one.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, we have the RPD report. We don't have the nice looking, we got another individual tonight, so we're
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I am Officer Lee. I am the Crime Prevention Officer for the Southeast District. Officer Cinanni cannot be here tonight. She's actually on vacationing in Italy right now, so she's gone for the next 2 weeks. So she asked if I to cover her CAC, and I reluctantly said yes. No, I like Cinanni. She's really good. She's really good at what she does. Going over the numbers real quick, I won't be before you long. As far as the last 28-day cycle, you guys had 5 residential burglaries in the last 28 days, which was not a change from last month. We did make an arrest in 2 of those cases, which were good, but most of the cases were kind of like backdoor or rear window entry. So we asked that if you guys see anybody suspicious hanging around anybody's house or like walking around their house, just call the non-emergency number, or you can call 911 and have us come out and have a conversation with them to see why they're in the neighborhood. You're largely from motor vehicles. You guys were down in your numbers. You guys had 7. Once again, 2 of the vehicles were unlocked. We stress every month our Lock It or Lose It campaign. It was lock, take, hide, and nobody caught the phrase of that, and we had largely from motor vehicles, so we changed it to Lock It or Lose It, and it's still not working. So if you guys have any ideas on a good slogan to make people lock their car doors, please get up with me and send it to me in an email or text, or I can get it to my chief, and we'll try something new and see what happens. But nobody likes to lock their car doors for some reason. I don't know what it is. If you're not gonna lock your car door, at least take everything out of your car and take it in your house, so that way if they do get inside your car, they don't take anything from you. 2 of the cases were smashed windows. Obviously, they smashed the windows because they saw something in the vehicle that they wanted. One was somebody left cash in their seat, and another person left tools in the seat. So even though your car is locked, like I tell you, lock your car door, take everything out that's visible. Because if they see it, they're just going to smash the window and take whatever they see in your seat or in your center console, if your console is open, or on your floorboard. A lot of people like to leave purses and wallets and stuff on the seats. I don't get why. If you're in the house, why would you leave your wallet in the car or your purse in the car? I don't get it, but we have it's happening citywide. It's the #1 crime. It's been going on for years now. The smash and grabs or the unlocked cars. So please get the word out to your neighborhood, to your neighbors. Please lock your car door. If you don't lock it, take everything out that's visible. Motor vehicle thefts, you guys had 5, up from your last month cycle. 2 of the incidents were from the same house involving dirt bikes. So the first time they went to the house, they took a dirt bike off the porch. We recovered that one, and then they went back 2 days later and took 2 more dirt bikes off the porch. So if you have dirt bikes or anything outside your house, please take it. You think if it happened the first time, you think they would secure it and put it in their house or in the garage or anything like that, but they didn't. Maybe they don't have the space or don't have the means to put it away. But if you have to have it outside, see if you can secure it with a chain or a lock or anything like that, so that it's not easily taken away. If you guys have anything outside. I know a lot of people have a lot of stuff in their garage and they can't fit stuff in there, but if you can secure it in any way outside your premises, please do that. One of the vehicles was left running. I know it's getting cold outside, so our largely of motor vehicles is going to go up, because a lot of people like to start their cars in the morning, run their car, so it gets warm by the time they run outside. But while you're inside, cooking breakfast or changing your kids' diaper or getting the kids ready for school, somebody outside is walking by, which normally is a teenager going to school, and they see a car that's running, and then they end up taking your vehicle. So please, if you're going to run your vehicle in the mornings to warm it up, please lock it, use your spare key, so you can get back in your car, but don't leave it running. In the other case, the stolen vehicle, we recovered it, which was great. Another thing that's happening now, I know the holiday season is coming up, and a lot of people are trying to get deals on Christmas gifts for their families. So I know a lot of people go to Craigslist, they go to Let Go, they go to OfferUp, they go to all these websites to get all these cool deals and stuff, and then they're meeting these people in places that you shouldn't be meeting people at. So I always say, if you get something from Craigslist or Let Go or OfferUp, whatever you get it from, please meet them in a secure location that's well lit, that has a lot of people there. If you want to call us, if you want to call 911 and say, hey, I want to have an officer meet me, I'm getting ready to get a laptop from somebody, I don't know if it's legit, can you come stand by with me while I come get it? We'll be glad to come stand by. And if you tell that person on the phone, hey, meet me with the police at 1601 Crossing, they're like, no, I don't want to do that. Then you know it's not legit. But so last month we had 3 cases where a person wanted to either let go or offer up, they ordered a cell phone. So they're getting ready to sell their cell phone. So they meet the guy to sell the cell phone. So they're meeting them so one was at Upper Room Ottawa Village, but it was after hours, so you know there's nobody at the church, so the church parking lot's empty. Another one was at Shirley Caesar's church right here. Same thing. It was after hours, you know, nobody's there. I mean, if you're gonna meet somebody, meet them on Sunday morning while service is going on, but don't meet them at 6, 7 o'clock at night in the church parking lot, and you know nobody's gonna be there during the week. So what happens is you show up, person wants to see the phone, all they do is snatch the phone out your hand and take off running. Or they look, hey, let me see that phone real quick, let me see what it looks like, let me see if it works. And then when you hand it to them, say, here you go, then they're off with your phone. So you just lost it. And then because you're using the Let Go app or the Offer Up, they don't use their real name. So it's a different name, a different phone number. So it's hard to track them, it's hard for us to get your phone back. So that's happened a lot lately. I know it's gonna happen more because the holiday season is coming up. People are gonna wanna get deals on gifts. So if you're gonna meet somebody, meet them at a police station, meet them like inside the mall at the security office. It has to be somewhere well lit where there's a lot of people. That way there's no problems whatsoever when you guys are conducting that transaction. Most of them are legit, but it's these guys here that are making it hard for people to know what's legit and what's not. And lastly, tomorrow at 3 o'clock, our chief is doing a public service announcement on preventing gun violence at the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Gardens. She's doing a video. We don't know what the video entails, but if you guys want to come by, you're all welcome to come by if you want to be in the video with the chief about preventing gun violence tomorrow at 3 o'clock at Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Gardens. There will be a lot of police officers there, so traffic-wise, if you get there, there's no place to park. I'm sure they'll have separate parking for everybody, and your cars will be secure, but there'll be a lot of cops there tomorrow. So if you guys want to come out, everybody's invited, the public's invited to come out to be in that video. I don't know if you're going to actually be in the video or just be like a standby. Can't promise you that for those that want to get their face out there. But you guys are welcome to come. And that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions for me?
What's the non-emergency number?
It is 919-831-6311.
Another question.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you have like a break-in in your house, where do you find out like what happened? Like the first time the detective came out and spoke with us, and then after that we never heard anything else.
Call that detective again, and he can tell you what the update on the case is. It's assigned to one detective, so he has all the follow-up and all that. He can tell you if it's still being investigated or if it's on hold right now to they do some more work, or if they may be waiting on fingerprints to come back from the lab. There's all sorts of stuff that could be going on. So just call that detective back and say, hey, I'm just calling to get an update on my case, give me your report number, your name, and he or she will be able to get back with you and tell you what's going on.
I got one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
So the traffic light right off of 40 that goes to Quarry, is the city responsible for that or DOT? Because like when they have the concerts, they alter the stoplights, and then it's like when a concert is over, it never goes back, and traffic is bagged up all the way on 40.
If you see that happen, you just call a non-emergency number, and we can probably go out and reset it ourselves. Because sometimes the officer resets it, he has a clicker. So if you see an officer out there, he has a clicker to make the light turn red and green to make traffic go. So he may have just not reset it when he took the clicker out.
Okay.
So if you see that happen, just call us and let us go out there first and see if it's on us.
Okay.
And if it's not, then we'll forward it to DOT or whoever they can come fix the light. Okay. But normally it's because we went out there and forgot to reset it.
Okay.
The officer probably was ready to go at the end of the night and took it out and just went on his life.
I got another hand, I think.
Yes, ma'am.
Are they gonna bring back the wellness check for the elderly? Sheriff Baker.
So that's a sheriff's office deal, so I don't know if they're gonna bring it back. We never did it. I don't know if that's in the works or not. I can ask my chief when I see her if we're gonna have that program come back, but I know the sheriff's office did all that for us and then they took it away, so I don't know if it's coming back.
And at the same time, I guess the first of the year, I try to get Sheriff Baker to come out and speak on that, because I was asking him the same thing concerning that. So we'll see if we can get some information.
Okay.
I have a question. I remember couple of years back to sweepstakes, and then they closed them down. And now we're coming back with what we call skill games. We got one right across from here, right here where the Harders used to be, and then the telephone place. And now you have, what is the latest on that? I did not see anything come out, and I saw where the legislature 2 weeks ago came out and said that was illegal. So, what have you heard on this?
So we can't enforce that. I don't know which agency does that. It's not us. But there's legislation that says we can't go in and enforce it. But I think at one time, was ABC? ABC was monitoring that. So I don't know if ABC is still monitoring. You could get with Wake County ABC and see if they are. But we were told we can't do any kind of enforcement action in there. Unless a crime occurs. If a crime occurs, of course, we'll go in there.
You were over there about 2 weeks ago because of something that happened.
Yeah, but that's the only way we can get in there and actually do anything is if a crime occurs. That we have no regulations on how many games, what they do. That was done by ABC. I don't know if they still do that or not, but per legislation, there's no law that says we can go in there and get to do anything. But I hear there's legislation in the books and they're working on it, so.
Okay. We're talking about the place right across from Mechanics and Farmers Bank right there. And I noticed they opened up about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That was that. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Fabian, I have an email from him. He had an emergency, so he's not with us tonight.
Oh, it's not?
So, but he says that he will.
I give everybody his phone number and let them send the
He will
information.
bring the info.
You have anything you want to say, officer? You good? Okay.
Looking forward to next month.
Okay. All right. That's right. Okay. Appreciate it very much. You all keep up the good work. Appreciate everything you're doing. Okay.
Sir, he says that he will bring the information that he already has to the December meeting.
Okay. He just want to come to the social. All right, we'll take care of that. And someone asked a question. I think my secretary must got, she's on the road a whole lot, so she probably tired of getting here. So we don't have the minutes for tonight. So we have to have our minutes for last month and this month. Cause Pam, you're doing some scratching over there now? Okay, thank you. So we'll combine where we do October and November. If she's not here before the meeting, it's over with. Okay? All right. All right, Pam, you have anything you want to bring up on community engagement?
Good evening.
Good evening.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Pam Adderley. I am your community relations analyst, so I am your liaison to any city services or resources. A couple months ago, we discussed your budget, and I went back and got some more time, and you all had made some decisions, but you still had $345 left that you guys were deciding on. Now, I know that this meeting is typically on the second Monday, and so we're not exactly representative of how many folks are usually here. If you'd like, we can hold off until the next meeting. If you'd like to decide about that $345.
Okay, I have it down here. Let's bring that up at the end of the meeting. Yeah, we got it on the schedule here.
Okay.
And let's see if anybody want to do, because I got a list of things that you and I had already talked about and brought up and I don't have a copy of the minutes, so let's do that. And we think about it, because we're only talking about, that'll probably be the only item that we will have for next month before we go into our winter social.
Okay.
So yeah, so let's come back up on this in a minute, because I saw some things on here that we might be able to change.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah.
Okay. Also, next month I won't be here for your social, so I do apologize. But Kayla Del Nance will be here. So for those of you who had an opportunity to meet Kayla through Parks and Rec, she will be here, and she'll have any information that I get from our division. She'll bring it. And if you guys haven't already had an opportunity to think about any events that you might want to use neighborhood improvement funds for, or neighborhood arts funds for. Please give that some thought. The end of the fiscal, we're actually winding down on the amount of money that's still available. So if you have something that you're interested in your respective neighborhoods, just, you know, give me a ring. And so my information is here. Does anybody have any questions for me?
On the neighborhood fund, that's the matching fund.
Right,
Well,
it's the
you said
matching,
that,
it's the
yes.
matching fund only if you use the $1,000. If it's $250 or less, you don't need to match that. And even if you do need to match, you don't have to match in funds. You can match in-kind donations or volunteer hours. So if you have a project and it's $2,000, you want $1,000 from the city, you can use volunteer time to match. Yes, ma'am.
Would these funds be available for repair of the Cedarwood sign?
Yes,
The
ma'am.
sign?
It's a neighborhood.
How would we go about it?
Oh, you can, well, you can actually apply for the funds online, but if you feel like you may have some troubles with that, just give me a call and I'll walk you through the application process.
But does it have, it has to be someone who lives in Cedar Woods?
Yes.
Okay.
I
We
live,
really need to,
It
yes.
I live over there.
But please, let's get the sign fixed.
Alright.
It's that those bricks have been down forever, and Brother Noah wouldn't like that, you know.
Right.
He would be concerned that we let his neighborhood go down like that.
Okay, so
Okay,
Cyrus,
you'll give-
yes.
Okay.
Yes, so also, so like Mr. Weeks mentioned, you guys have a new registered neighborhood, Camelot Village. So if you have neighborhoods around you that are not already registered, please speak with them and let them know it's a very easy process. You can do it online, or there's a paper application, or they can just call me and I'll walk them through. But you guys will get so many benefits all for free. Okay, so if you have any questions about that, just give me a ring.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, we have two items that we're going to listen to. They were here last month. The Haven developers were here 2 months ago, but Isabell was here last month. She's coming back. Both of the items that we have for small presentation and to vote on it for them to move forward. And I'm gonna have Isabell Mattox come up now on Z2919. She's gonna give us some information update. And I think you all asked her some questions at the last meeting, and I think she has some answers for you and what we're looking for.
I'm getting in the way of the screen, but good evening to all of you. My name's I think it was somebody from
there, and I have a clicker for you. So give me 1 second.
My name's Isabell Mattox. This is Becky Baskin. She's our architect. I'm an attorney representing the developer. Unfortunately, the point man for the developer, Tim Morgan, and the engineer, Rick Baker, had to be at a zoning hearing in Pembroke, North Carolina. And because your date changed from the 11th to the 3rd, it kind of got signals crossed, so they had to be down there and they couldn't change that. They were really sorry they could not be here tonight. But I think Becky and I can go through and hopefully answer most of your questions. So just to kind of give you, to orient you to the site, it's the intersection of Quarry Road and Pearl Road. And
So you're gonna, right, and then you have a pointer at the
so the
top.
pointer's that little, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's 3 parcels right here together. That's Rock Quarry down this way, sorry for my shaky hands, and Pearl Road coming this way. That's the zoning map. You can see this site is zoned R4 now. There's property right across the street that's zoned RX. There's some R10 right adjacent to this property in the dark yellow. So the proposed development is an affordable housing development, 80 8 units. 80, I think they're really actually doing 84 units. And there will be, it's a senior affordable development, so 55 and older, which doesn't sound all that senior to me. But the, it'll be a subsidized project through Housing Finance Agency. The City of Raleigh is contributing some money as well. And we have filed some recent revised conditions, and those conditions include, we did impose a frontage, which is kind of this weird zoning thing, which talks about how close to the street you are. And we have eliminated any kind of retail or restaurant or office uses. It's just residential. We have agreed to do a pedestrian connection. You can see that yellow little path right this way that takes you from Apperson Drive back here out to Rock Quarry, pedestrian way. There'll be an easement there and a path for walking there. And we have also agreed to do a type 2 buffer along both the east and south buffer around here and here. That'll be a 20-foot wide planted buffer, so it'll be a nice break. And you can see this development down here is I think a townhouse development. There's already a fair amount of space between it and this one anyway. We will have security features on the building. There'll be several entrances, but when you go out, it locks behind you, so you have to have a fob to get back in. So we think that'll secure our building. And one thing that we have talked about a little bit is the fact that this Pearl Road is going to be realigned right here at some point in the future. I think we're a little bit ahead of that. The city has funded that project, but is it 2023? I think it's supposed to be completed. And we think we'll be done a little bit in advance of that. But that will greatly improve this intersection here at Barwell and Rock Quarry. We also, our architect is Becky, and she's going to tell you a little bit about how the building's going to look.
So this is a conceptual drawing of what we would like to achieve as a maximum 3 stories. So this is a 3-story building. We're trying to create a quality building that's attractive, that's brick and siding and fiber cement detailing and trim, just to create some kind of a good curb appeal. And then in terms of security, also we're big believers of eyes on the street and being able to see from your living space the outside and being able to see outside in, just creates security for the outside and the inside. Had double windows in each living space, but also full glass double doors at all the main entries. And as Isabell mentioned, key fob system for letting people in and out, or letting people in and key fob to get out.
So we've done our neighborhood meeting. That was back in the summer. We had, I don't know, not a whole lot of neighbors, maybe somewhere between 5 and 8 neighbors, I would say. And then we've done pre-filing with the city. We've met with the Southeast CAC one time, and we've met with you guys one time before. So we're here tonight for a vote. But we are available to answer whatever questions you guys might have. Yes, sir.
Where is these apartments in relation to the ones they're building down there now?
Across the street. If you go back to see that triangular shaped parcel right here. So they'll be across Rock Quarry from each other.
It'll be what?
Across Rock Quarry from each other. But ours will be a senior, and I think theirs is a family complex. Yes, ma'am.
Is something else there right now, or are y'all taking out? I know
there's
land for sale.
Yeah, single family home,
so
I think
y'all
there.
are taking that down?
Yes. Yes.
That road is that area is already very tight. It's very congested.
Pearl Road.
Pearl Road in general,
Yeah.
just that Rock Quarry.
There's
Yeah.
no traffic.
And I don't
lights.
mind the income based or,
Yeah.
housing, but at the same time, it's people in the back of Pearl who paid a good amount.
Yeah.
And so not only are they throwing the apartments that are across the street that are income based, now we're talking about another income based one.
And 55-year-olds as seniors, they're still young. That, I mean, that.
Well, I'll tell you, we did a little traffic analysis, which shows the trip generation kind of is what the engineers can kind of take a look at a property, and they have numbers that say, you know, what a typical type of use will generate on both a peak hour, which is probably in the morning, is probably 8 to 9, evening is probably 5 to 6.
No,
Not at all.
Not at all.
At
We
7
come down
o'clock,
that
that
road
road
every
is,
day.
7 o'clock in the morning, that road is
Yes.
bumper to bumper.
Well, but I just want to show you this. This is how the city and people nationally analyze traffic. And you'll see if that property that we're developing was developed in R4, single-family development, fully developed, you'll see that up here you have a total new trips of 364 as compared to the senior 328. So it's actually fewer trips. And then you can see the peak hour.
That's not that much for trips. I'm sorry.
That
You
area is
run
so
on every
bad.
morning, that's too bad.
So bad. For
No
the
traffic
the
light,
houses back
nothing.
down there, that is just.
But I'm not sure. I think that there's a chance that the Pearl Road realignment will bring a signalized intersection there. It should help matters quite a
Well, you
bit.
said 20.
One person at a time, please.
I think that Pearl Road realignment is scheduled to be completed. I want to say it's either 22 or 23.
23, I think.
23. That's what I think. Yeah.
Is there no regulations around how close they can put like all the affordable housing along with regular housing too? There's no like, they can just pile them anywhere, or is no?
They do have some policies on that. This has gone through the city affordable housing department and been approved for city funding. So, you know, there are some policies on where they can be.
I guess because my concern is, it seems like when it comes to affordable housing in Raleigh, it's always thrown on one side. It's not like an even mix around Raleigh. It's not like these complexes come anywhere, they try to pile all of them up in one area on typically the south side instead of it being spread throughout Raleigh.
Well, I don't argue that there's probably some truth to that. And, you know, I don't pick the sites. Our client who's developing these looks for sites all over Raleigh. He's got projects in Wakefield. He's got them in North Raleigh and different parts of Raleigh, West Raleigh. I talked to him about one potentially on near NC State recently. And so they are scattered about. I mean, I'm not going to tell you that there's sometimes this does not feel like an overconcentration, but I also think this is a senior development, 55 and older. The typical resident is a female, single, living alone, who's in her probably 70s, late 60s, mid 70s, and may or may not drive. So the traffic generation, therefore, is much lower. And so I think from a traffic impact analysis, it's really a pretty good property use.
Back to your question there. The city has some guidelines they put out about 5 years ago concerning this, because we've been in all the houses is right together within Southeast Raleigh. And so we try to come out with guidelines to help with that. Now, it's for us and the citizens, if we feel that we're being overused as far as that, to get on the list and go to the city council and let them all hear you. Because it's down there somewhere on there. Because I think the traffic thing has come up before. We know that Quarry Road is going to be, but that's down the road. We're talking about 5 years. What we're going to do about traffic down there now, while we're going through there?
Well, this particular development won't really come online until probably 2021. By the time it's, you know, it goes through the full approval cycle. Is that right? So we get, yeah, probably 2021. So it may be a year gap between when, maybe a year and a half gap between this project being completed and the Pearl Road realignment.
Let me make sure another question. Then with the senior development, is there gonna be a transit stop?
There's actually a transit stop already across the street. I mean, if the city wants one, we'll certainly grant one. They frequently ask for that. They haven't asked for it so far. And I think the reason for that is there's already one close by.
Okay.
But I think that would not be a problem for us if that was.
Because you're talking about the seniors going across the street
Yeah.
to another one. I think that would be a problem.
It may be, but normally transit comes in with a comment, and they've not said that here. Again, I don't think we would have any objection to one.
I just think that,
Yes,
I'm not speaking on
My
behalf.
question is, are these single-family units? Because I'm just hearing elderly and affordable housing.
These are apartments.
So they're apartments.
Apartments, and they're 1 and 2 bedroom apartments.
One or two bedroom apartments.
Yeah, so about half and half, 1s and 2s.
Okay. And if there is a opportunity for a bus stop, you know, if this goes through,
Yeah.
I think you need one there where they are,
Yeah.
not having to cross the street. And also, it's enough bus stops up already that are not covered. So we don't want to see any more bus stops go up.
With a shelter you want.
That's not covered.
Well, let me make a
So
note of that.
if this goes through, it's ridiculous to put a bus stop with no shelter, no covering.
We had the individual out here 2 months ago, and he, who was over the bus shelters and everything, that all the shelters will be covered. No, we don't want to see benches.
Yeah, we don't want to see that.
Yeah, so we took care of that 2 months ago.
Okay.
Let me do this. I'll go back and I'll talk to the transit division of the city, because I mean, we can offer the transit easement, but if the city doesn't want us to put it up,
Yeah,
it
no,
won't
I
really
understand.
happen.
Yeah.
But we can talk to them, and I think our client, our developer would be willing to put one up and put a shelter up. Because like you say, I mean, it makes sense. I mean,
Okay, you had
It's single and two bedroom,
yes,
and it's income based.
yes.
What is the average cost of those houses?
Uh,
Because see, a lot of people have a different understanding of affordable housing.
yeah.
So I need,
I have some information on that.
I really need a cost. What's an average cost?
Well, there's a sliding scale depending on whether,
Starting at,
whether it goes 30% and 60% of AMI. And then at the lower end of the scale, the 1 bedroom apartment is $400 a month. At the higher end, a 2 bedroom at the 60% is $775. So that's the range, $400 to $775, depending on what your income is and depending on whether you have a 1 bedroom or 2. So if you had a specific thing, I could tell you exactly, if you knew exactly what you
well, I just need to hear where it starts.
Yeah, so that's the range.
Okay.
You had a question back here. No, young lady back here.
Okay, so, I'm wondering, is there neighbor input? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of people who stay on the back of the road have never heard about this. When initially moving, it is a new development. So I guess now, I know you said city council, and what are our options now? Because it doesn't sound like a good idea from even if there was a bus stop right there, it's gonna be dead near a traffic stop. Traffic is already backed up on that road. The bus stops that they have now cause even more traffic backup. If you leave at the house at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, you're in bumper to bumper traffic already. Until they do something about making Rock Quarry bigger and the line, it shouldn't be anything else built until that gets handled first. So we have to suffer for a year and a half, another 2 years. That's not right, so it's already a very, very big, extremely big development on the opposite side of the street that's already gonna, I don't even know the impacts of that traffic. Already, and it's already bumper to bumper. So now we have to deal with yet another development, as well as they're trying to build more down at the bottom of Pearl So I guess my question now is, and I know that's in the peak hours, I'm not sure whether maybe the engineers need to take a trip out and sit at 7 o'clock in the morning to see, because that.
Well, I'm not telling you what's there now. I'm sure it's busy, and just like pretty much everywhere else in Raleigh, that is the number one complaint I hear
But
in
they're not
everything.
building.
But no, they are building. Every case that I go to has to do with a new project coming through, and people are screaming about traffic. So you're not alone in that regard. But I do ask you to look at this, because at the peak hour, say 8 to 9, this project would add 6 additional cars, and at the peak hour in the afternoon, it would add. Peak hour would add 17 cars, and the afternoon hour will be 23 cars. So, yeah, it's adding some cars, but in the scheme of things, it's not a huge amount of traffic being added by this development.
There have been some concerns about traffic, and I think they brought it up at the last meeting.
Yeah, I mean, we heard a little bit, but not as much.
But that is something that we can look into. We have the planning, somebody from the planning department. You have something you want to say on that?
My name is Don Belk. I'm city planning. I'm your point of contact for the city planning department. Couple of things. First, as far as the clustering or concentration of affordable housing.
You want to come up here in the front for us, please? Appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm not sure in terms of private development how that is managed, but if there are developments for like group homes or supportive housing, those specific types of residential use, those are regulated in that there's a buffer around those types of development. And I believe it's 2,500 feet buffer around those, so you can't have it multiple supportive housing type developments come together. The other concern that I heard regarded the bus stop, and again, Chairman Weeks mentioned that their transportation department is undertaking a program to build all covered shelters from this point forward. And also, this case this evening for this project is only about changing the zoning. Changing it from an R4 to 4 units to acre to residential mixed use, which in this case would equate to about 11 units per acre. Some of the details with regard to where the parking is located, where the pedestrian path is located, and also any traffic improvements, for example, a turn lane that might have to be put in, things like that. Those will be done at the site plan stage. So for tonight, the question really is, do you support changing the zoning of this land to go from 4 units to the acre to residential mixed use that could be as many as 11 units to the acre? And of course, the applicant has stated that they are building apartments, and they have offered a number of conditions that give the city staff reasonable confidence that that will be the outcome. They have a well-known local builder lined up, and he, as Ms. Mattox stated, they've done other similar developments throughout the city. I think that's public engagement and contact. The applicant is required to hold a neighborhood meeting. The letter for that meeting goes out to all properties that are within 500 feet of the site. So, and that's in the form of a letter. That's only the first notification. There will be another note. In fact, there has already been another notification sent out to the to everyone within 500 feet of the site, announcing the Planning Commission meeting where this case will be heard, and that will be on November the 12th. Is that right? November the 12th at 9 a.m. And you are certainly encouraged to come and speak. You'll have an opportunity to do so. We will also validate your parking. The city is offering parking for citizens to come and express their views or simply to be interested to hear what's going on at the Planning Commission. This again is another opportunity for the public to engage on this project. The presentation was made last month, and tonight the applicants come back for a vote. And again, the Planning Commission, there'll be an opportunity to speak. If the Planning Commission recommends, and by the way, they do have 90 days, actually from the previous meeting, about another 60 days within which they have to make a recommendation to City Council. Once they do that, and once this case goes to City Council, then City Council will conduct a public hearing on the case, and they'll have 60 days from that date. Once it gets to them, they said they have 60 days to set a public hearing and conduct that. And that's yet another opportunity for concerned residents and citizens to speak. So that's kind of the public engagement process. The City Council does have the final say. So we'd be happy to answer it.
Yeah, one hand over here and one over here.
I think what she's concerned about, and maybe you can make that work, the widening of the road going down through there by Baldwin Road. I think that's one of her concerns.
Yes, and
that's what I think concerned, and she wants to see if that can work, because it has to work in terms of long growth. Because I travel that route quite a bit myself, so I know how the traffic is. So I think that's what she is.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing it up. I will say that the city street plan, which is on the city's website. And by the way, I do have some business cards that I'll set out here. Please feel free to contact me. But the City of Raleigh street plan does designate Rock Quarry as a 4-lane divided avenue. So ultimately, as it develops, Rock Quarry will become a 4-lane road.
And this developer will have to be required to either make improvements or pay money towards future improvements of Rock Quarry Road and Pearl Road.
We got one back here, Rochelle, right behind you.
My name is Geneva Langston. I'm here right off the Rock Quarry, across from Southeast Raleigh High School, and I do travel that road a lot too, from Nightdale Auburn Road all the way back. I don't see the land for a 4-lane road.
Well,
for it to be as wide as it should be.
As each property develops, they're required to give right-of-way to the city.
But like they are saying, the houses that are there now, across from where these will potentially be built, they've already put a turning lane there, but it's not enough land on either side of the road from that church, either side of the road as I can see, for it to be widened that much. It's not.
Well, as properties come in and be developed, they will have to give right of way. That's part of the way. That's the part of the way the roads get improved. Is development brings improvements to roads. Now, sometimes you don't get all of it once, but you get it piece by piece.
But with how much they're building already there, and that big apartment complex again is massive. Shouldn't they would be required to fix the road and the improvements before the development, so the residents have to suffer while after all this stuff, and then we have to suffer for them to fix it? Shouldn't that stuff be done prior to a new development comes?
Well, each of these apartment complexes will have to do some right-of-way improvements and some right-of-way dedication. I can't tell you the specifics because, again, we're not at site plan and I haven't reviewed that plan. But as you come in for development, you have to give up right-of-way, and you either have to improve it yourself or put money in a pot for the city to do it.
I 100% understand, but shouldn't that be done prior to the development?
Well, it's done at the time. If you're improving it, it's done at the same time you're doing the development.
So within the time they were to put this property up, there should be some additional lanes or something added to that part. Is that what you're kind of saying?
Yeah, there possibly would be a new lane added, yes.
Rochelle, and then Green, okay.
Okay. My question is, we're not seeing where there was some widening when those apartments were put up. So that's why the question is asked, can't that be done before the buildings are there? And there are no stoplights coming out of Pearl Road. It's already a jam there. I had to live there for about 2 months this summer off Pearl Road. And you almost get killed trying to get out there, or you have to turn around and go back all the way down to the other end of Pearl Road, and there's still no stoplight. So those residents out there are suffering already. So the question is, can't some of this be fixed before you throw the apartments up? That's the concern. Because it's dangerous going up and down that road. And you have to have so many hours ahead of time when you're trying to go somewhere.
So many accidents. Have they did a report on how many accidents?
Early in the morning to late at night.
I mean, go ahead, Don.
I'm just going to say, it does seem illogical that you have the construction or the rezoning and the development take place before the road gets improved, but that's really where the money comes from to do the eventual improvement. It's from the private sector as part of their requirements to build the road.
Yeah, on traffic lights, interestingly, you know, like Rock Quarry and maybe both Pearl and Rock Quarry are NCDOT roads, but they have to have these things called warrants before they add a stoplight. And what that is an analysis that shows a sufficient amount of traffic that is needed. And so a lot of times they'll say, well, this apartment complex may bump the level of traffic up high enough to, you know, justify an extra traffic light. But until the apartments are actually developed, they don't have sufficient warrants to have another traffic light.
We already know.
I know. I mean, I know that you feel it. I'm just saying they have a technical analysis.
Yeah, because the only way that's going to work is you've got to move that road going into Pearl Road. Right there from Barwell, there's no way you can put a stoplight there at that Pearl Road because it's right there together.
Yeah.
So it's already dangerous, and there's so many accidents.
Very many. Very many.
My accident that I had was just a little bit up from that, so I know how dangerous it is there.
Yeah, I can also look into the accident reports in that area and just see what we found.
I mean, just Green back here, he had his hand up for a while.
Yeah, I had 2 questions. You said since we're just debating zoning, if by some miracle this zoning request does get denied, is there any possibility that the parcels would develop in their current R4 zoning? Is anybody ever going to actually put houses on them if this gets denied?
Well, that's the entitlement presently, but I mean this is sort of you know, capitalism in action. There's demand for greater density at that location. It's close to the Battle Bridge commercial area. It's close to Barwell Park, the school. Yeah,
there's demand for affordable housing,
and there's demand for that, and that the R4 is it could certainly be developed at that, but it's you know there's a demand to build more, and that it increases, as you all well know, it increases the value of the property. So. And the investment has to get a return, you know, based on that higher density. So it's supply and demand, really, and that hence the request changes on.
Yeah. My other question, since as you can tell, everybody cares a lot more about traffic than they care about the land zone. The other apartment complex on the other side of the street, given that that's already going up, have they already contributed anything to possibly widening the street based on their addition to the lane?
Yeah, I'm certain that they have. I don't know the specifics or the mechanics of how and when that's going to be done.
If their money's going into the pot, it'll just be spent when the time is ready?
Yes.
Okay.
We have one more question. I thought I saw one more. Right here. Yes, go ahead.
So how do you acquire this land? Are you taking it from people, or are you just going to ask them to sell it?
For
the zoning, as far as the traffic, widen the roads, because I can't see anybody on Pearl Road who's actually going to give up some of their property to widen the road. To be honest with you. And can you answer that one for me?
I will try to do so. We've talked a lot about demand and people selling their land for a higher price to meet the demand for density and new housing. if someone decides that they do not want to sell ever, and everything builds up around them, and you'll have that one little piece where you've got a 4-lane road, but you got one little section where there's just a 2-lane. In that situation, the city, or I guess the DOT, would approach the owner and offer to buy the necessary land it would take to put the road in. Now, if they cannot come to an agreement, that's when the taking situation comes in, condemnation, where the owner is paid for that land, but they're paid at, they try to reach a settlement. And if it cannot be reached, I'm not sure exactly what the price is. It might be based on a couple of different appraisals, but there is ultimately a legal resolution to that. But at that point, it is a judicial proceeding.
But when a property comes in for development, they're required to donate it, dedicate it to the city without any compensation. So
Even at cemetery?
cemeteries?
Yeah, there's a cemetery right there when you walk talking about.
No, cemeteries are sacrosanct. I mean, you can't do anything.
How you gonna ride the road on that side? You got a cemetery right there.
Where's the cemetery?
It's up the street a little, but it's right there.
And one thing about I wanted to also mention that when Pearl Road and Barwell Road are aligned, part of that project is going to improve. There'll be a better crosswalk there as well as traffic signals, sidewalks, and that, again, as Rock Quarry is built out, where there's sidewalks will be installed where they need to be. So it will improve over time. It will improve connectivity, but it'll be a bear.
Where's the cemetery? Can you point it out on that?
It's right, those new apartments that they building?
Yeah.
Right as you go around the curve, it's right there on the right.
Oh, off Barwell?
Down the right corner.
Well, they will normally try to build around cemeteries and leave them there. Occasionally, they can relocate graves, but I don't really know anything specific about this particular project.
All right.
It does happen occasionally. Usually cemeteries, they don't.
Let me have your attention.
Go there.
Please. All right. I talked to also the CAC chair Southeast. They're on the line, but it's in our area, and he told the traffic part we bring it up tonight. It's the same thing, but they went out and spoke to them. And traffic is still, and we know that's a big problem. But now it's in, as we state, you're here for the zoning.
That's right.
That's the zoning of the part here from what Dan just mentioned here. Anything else you want to say before we?
No, I'm
Could
good.
you explain this zoning? I want to make sure I got a clear idea of what we're about to
You
go
better
over tonight.
emphasizing the zoning part.
Okay, so right now it's R4.
That's right.
We're asking if it be rezoned to RX, which is residential mixed use, -3, which is 3 stories maximum, -PL, which is parking limited frontage, which talks about how you place your building vis-a-vis the streets. And so
-CU, because there are some conditions.
There are conditions.
That the applicant has offered, and we've had presentations previously talked about conditions, and actually in the CAC meetings are actually an opportunity to discuss, are there conditions that can be put onto a case, and I think that there was some of that discussion last time.
Yeah.
And if it stays the way that it is now, what is the zoning now?
R4.
And that would mean what?
4 units per acre. Single family detached houses per acre. So it's about 8 acres, so you could do 32 houses there.
I think I'll live with 32 houses. I mean, to be honest, I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, the reality is, I don't know that may not be a real choice. I mean, it may just not happen. If this got denied, maybe this wouldn't happen, and you might past a year or two, and then it comes back, and somebody wants to do market rate apartments or family affordable or something like that. So, you know, you don't really know what would happen. It's probably unlikely that somebody develops it at R4, but I really don't, you know.
But why does everybody want to do family affordable housing in our diamond in the rough?
Well, yeah, this is
I'm just-
our development is senior.
Here.
We're doing senior.
Seniors, it doesn't matter, you still got people who are
One question you
SSI,
said.
55 is not that old. I mean, you still have problems. I mean,
Not to mention
Yeah.
across the street.
you got grandparents that's taking care of the little kids. So, by you saying 55, I'm 50. I'm still young.
I know. Well, the thing is, that's just the youngest age that can be living there. I mean, as I said, the average age is more like high 60s, low 70s is sort of the typical age.
Let me just put a thing in here just for a minute. Even in the last election for the city council, every candidate was out there talking about what they were going to do about affordable housing. 2 years ago, the mayor came out at the forum and stated the same thing. Don't forget, it might be us, but we got other CACs and different things that they requested, say, hold it, we're being priced out. People are being priced out with gentrification and different things out of their homes. So now, why is it that we cannot get affordable housing for, and don't forget, when we talk about affordable housing, you're talking about bus drivers who are not making any money, Holly. You're talking about police. You got teachers that cannot afford to live with the price going up. So just remember that this was the big thing that came out during the forum, during our last election. And every candidate, including the mayor candidates, all came out and said what they were going to do about affordable housing. I remember, I know what you were saying, and we went to this because we tried to get 6 or 7 years ago, 6, 7, 8 years ago, off of Glenwood Avenue. We tried to get affordable housing up at the top of that, and they finally came back and said, even with the neighborhood saying no, and they ruled on it, then they came back and said, hold it, you will put something out here.
The water garden project, is that what you're talking about?
Yes,
Way
right.
out 70? Yeah.
Yes, right, right out 70.
That's so
But right now, the thing is, this is a zoning only, right now. It's up to you, by your vote, to let this go forward. And I think, do you have anything else to say on this, Fo?
The CAC vote, when we take that vote, then the staff, when we prepare a report for the planning commission, we will indicate what that vote was, and the planning commission, they always bring that up. They want to know what the vote was. Did the CAC approve it, or
what were the CAC's
disapprove it? What were their issues? They consider the CAC's voice on the matter extremely seriously, as does the city council.
Can I say one thing? I think affordable housing is beautiful. I would never forget where I came from, because at one point I have needed affordable housing. I think it's beautiful. But just not throw everybody in apartments and say, here's affordable housing. Just make home ownership a reality for a lot of these people too. Just not just throw this apartment building and say, here, you got somewhere to stay. That's not living a dream. I'm sure some of these people want housing and everything too. Why not just get units for these people?
Okay, but I just attended the DHIC affordable housing over by St. Aul. And the thing is, and I think the other people are saying the same thing, is that you put them into there so they can afford to buy something. And they trying to work with them to try to show them how you start here and you move out into your own place and things. And if you look at the DHIC homes, apartments over there by St. Aul, they had 164 they dedicated the other day, and they got 80 more to do. And I think, well, like you said, no, you don't put them in and just let them stay there. Casa and other people, no problem. When they put them there, this is a place for you to start, to get you off of the street, to end homeless for our children and for our single parents and different things.
And for this particular development, it's a place for our mothers and fathers who want to live in a secure community. They don't have a lot of income. They have maybe a Social Security check coming. They might have a little bit of retirement, but they don't have a lot of income. But they still want a nice place to live. And this is going to be that place for a lot of people's probably more mothers than fathers, just because women typically live longer. But think about that. I mean, you know, everybody in here has a mother or having a mother, and they probably, you know, would like to have them be in a nice place.
And don't forget, he mentioned being from the planning department, but he heard it here tonight would be what he would be taking back at the same time. So we have another case to come up. So let's go ahead and I'll turn this over. Let's do, let me hold it. Rodman had one more before we get ready to vote.
All I want to know was that from R4 to RX, what?
3.
That's all I know.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm gonna turn it over to the community. I'll stand up here too. In our CAC, we did vote that any time we vote, you will raise your hand. It will not be by voice vote. Okay.
Okay. So if you are a visitor and you do not live in the South CAC, or you are under 18, you are not eligible to vote. So, having said that, do you, how many folks approve of the rezoning? Okay, keep your hands up because Don's helping me count as well. 4. I have 9.
I had 8.
Okay, keep your hands
I
up.
got 9.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay.
Okay, so that's 9, 4. If you are against the rezoning, raise your hand. Keep your hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many did? 8. 8. I did too. Okay. If you abstain,
Anybody abstain?
anybody abstain, please raise your hand.
Carter, you abstain?
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you? Is that a hand? You abstain. Okay. 2.
2. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Give the numbers again so they're.
4. The rezoning is 9. Against the rezoning is 8, and there are 2 abstentions.
All right then. Okay. And don't forget, this is not the end of the story. So we still follow up as far as the planning department and different things when we hear about before it goes to the city council. People feel like they want to go and appear before the planning commission. You can also do that. Okay.
And I left my business cards on the table. Please pick one. And Mr. Chair, if I could, I wanted just to promote city planning is helping with the census. The U.S. Census that's coming up on April 1st of 2020, that's Census Day. I have these nifty magnets, so those will be back on the table as well. Thank you.
And if I'm not mistaken, on the 2020 census, they're also hiring.
Yes,
that's right.
The Census Bureau is hiring. They certainly are.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you all for your time. All right, all right. Now we move to the, we have one more voting issue that we need to bring up. And I thank you, Haven developers, back in September, they came out and they gave us a view on what they want to do. And we asked them to go back and do a couple of things. And I think they're coming in for a text change, if I'm not mistaken. You're coming in for a text change. And we talked about traffic as far as because they were talking about Sanderford and Quarry Road. So we want you all to do this, and some of the things we brought out, no allowance for adequate parking and different things, and they're coming back to bring you up to date, and then we'll vote on this tonight, okay?
Yeah, thank you for taking the time tonight to listen to our presentation. We realized the last time we presented we were kind of a little preemptive in it. We were starting to work with the city, but we weren't kind of far enough along. So this time we do have a representative from the city working on this case with us. It is slightly different from the last one that we were just talking about in that we are doing a text amendment, not a full rezoning. It is currently zoned to accommodate unlimited density, but there's a conditional use, which I think they mentioned briefly earlier, that we're just trying to change a slight part of that conditional use to accommodate what we're trying to produce. And so there's a little bit of a slight difference in the way that whole process works out, which Mark from City can kind of talk to. I pushed the wrong button. Okay. So we are Haven Developers. The site, as we mentioned, was here. We're pretty early on in just the overall kind of details of the project. So we really want to focus primarily about this location as well as just what the text amendment that we're trying to go through is. So this is Sunnybrook's going north and west, or north and south, and then Rock Quarry east and west.
You have a point of view.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so we got Rock Quarry and then Sunnybrook. And then you've got Walnut Creek Elementary right across the street behind this buffer of trees. We are proposing to do a mixed income development, so it's not like 100% affordable type of development. It's going to be some affordable and some mixed income market rate type of units. Multifamily, it'll be a 3-story. Let me go here. So the current zoning is the RU 3 stories, and then there's a conditional use on it. There's multiple, there's 3 different conditional uses. One is to accommodate space for a bus stop, and then the other one is just has to do with the being near highway. But the one that we're here to talk about is basically the density component, which is kind of similar to the other conversation. The site is a lot smaller. It's only 2.3 acres. And currently, the zoning allows for unlimited density, but the conditional use draws it down to 14 units per acre. A little background about that conditional use: when the previous owner of this was going through rezoning, they were proposing some townhomes there. They decided not to do the townhomes, but the site plan for the townhomes is what drove that conditional use. There wasn't any pushback or anything like that from what they were telling us. It was just that they had the site plan and that was all they needed. So they just put it on there. It was more of a formality than anything. So now we're coming in to try to do a 3-story multifamily instead that has a diversity of income tenants. And in order to accommodate that, we're hoping to do up to a 68 unit. We still don't know the exact number of units, but we're looking to change 29 units an acre to accommodate a 68 unit development on it. Pretty much is kind of the gist of it. We're just kind of here to get your opinion on the change in the densities specifically to the text amendment. And a vote, yes, your recommendation. Any questions?
Okay, yes, you mentioned about the density, and now you're going from when you were here before, was it 30, how many units were you going for at that time?
Oh, this is the same. It's the same, yeah. So it can accommodate 32 units, 32 and units. We're looking to do somewhere between 50 and 68 is kind of what we're looking at right now, depending on how the financial side of it plays out.
And then when you were out here before, we also asked, you're still working on your design for this, am I correct?
Yeah.
Because we did ask something about that you wanted to get your text change and the other thing in before you come do the design part.
Yeah,
so this is really for the voting on it.
Okay. Preliminary, yeah.
All right. Michelle, you had your hand up?
I had a question about density. You're saying restricts to 14 units, but now you're saying you want to change it to 29, but then you said another number, so you lost me.
Oh, sorry, I was doing the math really quickly. 14 units per acre amounts to 32 is what it currently allows for. So the 14 units, and then I think it might be on this one, it's 2.35 acres if you look down here. So if you just multiply it, that's how many, the size that you can do. Okay. And so basically it's going from a potentially 34 units on this site. And as I mentioned, the zoning, the residential mixed use allows for unlimited density. And so in the process, they put that conditional use on just because it was tacked on with the site plan that they were originally proposing when they went through the rezoning. And so now we're just looking to change it.
But you have your hand.
What was the, you said part of it was affordable housing?
Yeah, so we're doing a mixed income in partnership with Wake County. So there is a portion of it that is going to be more on the affordable side, and then a portion that is just generally kind of market rate or workforce housing within that.
So what's the portion of affordable?
It's somewhere around 50-50. So and we're still trying to flesh out all those details. So I'm mainly just trying to focus on the size.
I think all of you know where this area is, right there at the corner of Quarry and Sanderford. Remember, we voted, this convenience store wanted to put theirs there and sell, get an ABC license, and we voted that down. So that's why you did not see the convenience store here, you know. And so some people bought the land to try to do something within that. And I think right across the street from there, we tried to get some people to do this. Some people are looking at that land right beside the amphitheater, that vacant lot where we were going to put the big box one time. So there, somebody else is looking at that part. This is on this other side here. And I think we asked them also with the 500 feet, did they get to go to meet with the church or anybody there? But you know, the people, yeah, about 4 or 5 houses right there. Right on the side where you're at.
We're talking about the neighborhood meeting.
Right, yes. Would you mind telling them about that?
So yeah, the previous time we hadn't done that. We sent out all the letters, held the meeting, and unfortunately nobody actually showed up. So we weren't able to get it.
You sent the letters out, yeah.
That we were hoping for, but we sent out the letters and.
Okay, you have somebody here.
What was that meeting?
When was it? Ooh, I can send you the exact date. I think it was September 14th. It was shortly after this. It was like the next week after we came here.
Yeah, I know you said you were going to meet with them after you had.
And city planning has that exact date, and we can send it to you.
And that was within the 500 feet?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, you have a question right here.
So you're saying if you have, 69 units on this particular lot?
68, yeah.
68. I think the question the last time was dealing with parking.
Yes.
Did you work out that?
That's partly why it is still in the preliminary side. Working with the city, they're gonna potentially run a traffic impact analysis to just generally understand parking and the flow of traffic within there, and then why we're still thinking between 50 and 68, just to make ssure that we accommodate all of the parking needed for that.
Also, you were talking about 3-story houses. Last time you said something about, what was it, 500 square feet or something, the size of the house.
The units?
Oh, units.
Yeah, they're 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom is generally what we're looking at.
1 and 2 bedroom.
And that's 3-story?
No, sorry.
Oh, sorry, it's a multifamily, so it'll be like a apartment complex with 68 units inside, so it's 1 building. It's not homes.
Right, okay.
It's 1 building, sorry, I didn't clarify that.
You have let me ask one question before we get her. I think even at the last meeting, when you brought up about the units, I'm just wondering, 62 units on 2.3 acres of land. That is kind of, yeah, that is very close. You all considered why you went that way? Because the citizens brought up about, they had a concern about that. Right?
Generally, the Wake County is our partner on this, and they're going to help us along with the project for some of the funding sources, and they wanted their funds, the city taxpayer dollars, to go to as many units as possible. And so our general attitude was to try to accommodate the Wake County to do more units, but we're still kind of going back and forth. As I've said, we're jumping somewhere between 50 and 68. It's more kind of also the size of units. There's some that are smaller and some that are bigger, so that also can change it. So it could be the same footprint, but just less units, depending on the size of the units. Or that's all preliminary.
Even increasing that, what about adequate parking within that area? Because they brought that up. Now, how would you, taking that under consideration?
Yes, so we are. So really the focus of the text amendment is trying to amend it such that we can build out sort of the max of what the site could actually hold.
We would like to have provision to do that, which is up to the 68 units, but again, we're still exploring the 50 to 68 because parking is an important consideration. And there are some bonuses that the city does provide with parking if you provide affordable housing. So there is a reduction, a parking space reduction, but again, we're really still making sure and testing everything as far as financial analysis and everything, finalizing what the actual size of the development will be. But parking is definitely driving that because we want to make sure that there is enough parking for the residents.
And the city kind of mandates that
Right.
that would fit within that mold, so we'll fit what the general city requirements
You
are.
have a question right over.
So you're having a problem with the city now in terms of how they can negotiate getting the maximum amount money-wise. So that's what the problem is between you and the city.
Not necessarily. That was just kind of, somebody mentioned just why are you going after that many units, and that was just generally wanting to have the public dollars go towards the most impact.
Is that?
I hear you.
Okay. So it wasn't that we were having trouble or there's any pushback.
Okay, you have a question?
I like to hear the words rental or home ownership. So all of this is being left out, so that's why I have some more questions.
Yes, so rental, that's.
Multifamily apartment complex rental.
apartment, yeah.
So why you all don't have that word in your presentations like the other people did? Unless I missed it.
We say
Did I miss
multifamily
it?
project, sorry, that's just kind of general term for apartment, but yeah, it's a rental.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't clarify.
Yes.
I just had a question. Do you know, like, what's the ratio of affordable housing just along Rock Quarry, maybe from Pearl to Crosslink or something like that?
I know that there are some being built, as we just talked about, but existing, actual, like, affordable multifamily
You mean
developments.
existing so, generally, most of the housing in this area fit within what's considered 50% area median income just naturally, so.
Single family homes.
Single family, but also the multifamily. So the apartments generally kind of fall, they're serving individuals who are generally making around 50% of Raleigh's area median income. And so that's sort of what's existing right now. There are some new projects coming online, as we heard about one. And then also there's a project further down Rock Quarry Road, the YMCA.
Yeah, YMCA is big one.
So there are several multifamily rental products coming online that are targeting individuals earning around that 50 to 60% AMI, and some also a little bit lower, which our project will also include that mixed income, lower and higher. So
When the Y put in their proposal, it had to do with the village down there to get it approved get it zoned by the city, because they said they put the school in first, put the Y in, then we'll put affordable housing in on that other side across. Yes, there's a sign out there for a public hearing on that. Yeah. That's another.
When are these gonna be built?
So this project would likely come on in 2022. So we're still a little ways out from that.
2022?
Yes.
Who is your builder?
Our builder.
Right now, we're talking to CT Wilson. They're out in Durham, but they do projects all throughout the triangle.
And how many bedrooms are these units gonna have in them?
We're still working through it, but mainly 1 and 2.
1 and 2?
Mm-hmm.
And the affordable housing will have 1 and 2 bedrooms, as you say, half of them will be affordable housing, the other half is gonna, so you're gonna have 1 and 2 bedrooms, that's it?
Mm-hmm.
And this is geared to more seniors or just
No, it's just
single
whoever.
families? Or students or?
Yeah, it can be anybody, families who have kids at Walnut, whoever has interest, just general market.
Yeah.
Okay.
1 to 2 houses, 1 to 2 bedrooms across the street from the school.
I'm just trying to do that, cause you know, I'm coming here from Ohio and I see that people down here have more than 1 and 2 kids. I mean, you know, that don't affordable housing. I don't understand that part.
Yeah. Well, it's just
is that because y'all needed the grant from the city, so y'all just figured to say this?
Well,
is that what that is?
it's just Speaking to just the affordable housing needs are across multiple different family sizes and types. And so for this county specific funds, they're really targeting individuals who are more along the smaller family, like one person households, 2-person household individuals, or
Any of these projects going to be have Section 8 phase 2 as well?
Yeah.
There you have it.
Any other questions? Okay, this is mostly a vote on a text change.
I guess, does Mark, do you have anything to
Oh,
add?
you have anything you want to add to it? Go ahead.
I would just, I'm Mark Collins, the zoning administrator with the city. I would just add that the process for this is similar to what you heard before with the previous application. This is a little bit different, and they're not actually changing the zoning on the land, they're just changing some of the conditions that are associated with the conditional use that is tied with this piece of property. And they're only actually changing one of those, as was mentioned, they're just changing the density requirement to essentially double what they're allowed to have. So it's pretty straightforward. After this meeting, the vote, this application would go before our planning commission. They would review it. If it doesn't get sent to a committee, they give their recommendation. It goes to the city council. Then the city council, just as before, they hold a public hearing. Anyone here this evening or anyone else who wants to speak on this application can come out then and voice their opinion on it, and the city council can consider that, and then they'll give the ultimate determination on it.
Any other questions for the planning department here? Yes, you have a question?
Well, I guess yes and no.
Go ahead.
Yes, well, my question is, I guess, well, no, I'll wait till after y'all finish, because my question pertains more to what we just voted on. So I'll let y'all.
All right.
That's right.
Okay, any more questions?
More jobs and more apartments. Well, I don't know how people gonna live. I mean, we got no jobs that's paying them money to do this. I mean, this is crazy.
Okay, you heard the presentation. I'll turn it over to our community to go ahead. We're voting on a text change now. Remember that. Yes.
Okay, so if you are in agreement with the text amendment, raise your hand. Keep it up, because Mark's gonna help you. Okay. Have 8. Did you not get 8?
No.
Okay, again.
I'm getting compliments behind you.
I'm sorry.
10.
10.
Okay, so 10 in agreement of the amendment. If you are not in agreement, please raise your hand. 3. If you are abstaining, please raise your hand.
Is she staying back?
5.
10-35. 10-35.
10-3-5, right, okay. All right, thank you very much.
Okay, can I ask my question now?
Okay, now, yes, you sure can, yes.
Okay, I don't feel like me and my neighbors were represented here, because I don't think, well, one, a lot of my neighbors don't really know about the CAC or all this process that's going on.
They don't know about the CAC?
No,
we
this is our
just
first
got
time
started.
finding out.
Yes.
So I anticipate next time, because I'm sure we're gonna probably get this out to
Right.
both blocks, will be a lot more represented. So what is the next meeting that?
We meet on the second Monday of each month.
Second Monday.
Only reason we're not meeting the first Monday because of Veterans Day next week.
Okay.
And the park and
sure
everything.
my
So.
neighborhood is not accurately represented.
Let me ask, Pam, you know why that area are not notified or anything? Is that because they did not have?
They just registered.
They just, I know.
So they just became registered. I went out to meet with their.
Oh, you did go out there,
Mhm.
okay.
So I went out to their HOA meeting, explained what the CAC is. you know, what happens here, and these are some of their members.
Were they told about the meeting on the 4th?
Yes, I told them about the meeting on the 4th and explained that the meeting is every second Monday of the month. Yes, sir.
So these people will get agenda from now on, the ones that's here tonight.
Yes, the ones that are here, if
Because you got
they
the
signed
email.
up out at the sign-in sheet and checked off that they would like it either mailed or emailed, certainly they will get it.
All right, you had a
Yes, sir.
question.
Can I ask, when is that next meeting that was this in November 12th? Did they say that?
Oh, at 9 o'clock, yes, it did. She said.
And that's the planning commission.
The planning commission.
Okay.
Yes, that
And
is it.
showing up there, what does that do?
Yeah.
Well, when they bring the application forward, the staff will come up and make a presentation, and then they'll let the applicant speak on it, and add anything that they want to add in addition to what the staff presents. At that point, they'll take comment from the public, and then you get up, you get up to the podium, and just
So we missed it. So we missed
Oh, no, you haven't missed it. No, they can't go before the planning commission until they're done here.
And where is that going to be at?
Yeah.
That's at the main building on Hargett Street, 222 Hargett Street.
Right.
At the municipal building.
City council building.
Second floor.
Yes.
Can you show them how to sign up on the website so that they can get on the list to be notified of all those meetings?
Oh, well, of all of the city council.
The planning committee, all of those.
All they gotta do is go on the city website.
Yeah, but I want her to tell us.
Sure. So, if you signed up out here, then you're gonna get the emails, you're gonna get your newsletters and all. But you do have to go on the city's website. You can just put it in the search, planning commission, and it'll give you a list of all the dates when they are meeting and which, what they're meeting about. And then you can sign up there to receive like alerts.
And is there a limit on the number of, say we have a certain amount of people come from to represent our neighborhood, is there a limit on the number of people that can speak?
No.
No, but it is a limit on the time.
On the time. Bring your whole neighborhood, okay?
Look, you already know what I'm playing. Every single one, because I don't think, granted, people here, I have nothing, I think affordable housing is a beautiful thing. I just think it should be spread out throughout Raleigh. Not concentrated on
Welcome to the CAC. You are a number one spokesperson for that position. Remember that.
That's
And
right.
good job.
Go ahead. That's our social good commission.
Any other questions that you have? Pam, do you have the list of the, what we're gonna talk about on the CAC?
Okay.
You have that list?
Oh, you mean your,
The one that you sent me, do you have a copy of that? On the money, only thing we close out with this in just
oh,
a
you mean
minute.
on the $345?
No, the other part. For your information, we did approve, $250 for our social for next month. Make sure your neighbor come out for that. We have a short meeting. Only thing we have is the beginning of the meeting, the police report. We will have the inspector report because everybody want to hear that. Then we'll go right into our, we call it a winter social. We got kind of talk, we were trying to say Christmas social or something because of religious tone and different things, so we just make it a winter social. We approved $250 that'll be catered here for you starting at the same time. And then we also need to get one more flag holder for our flag thing out here in the front, and that costs $135. We have $1,000. Every CAC in the city get $1,000 from the city per year. That's all we get. The other parts you mentioned that if you want to do something for your neighborhood and thing, that's a different thing that you can go in for. As far as the money for that. And I would say if you're trying to spruce up your neighborhood and thing, try the $250, but you don't have to match anything. But don't forget, even if you went to $500, if you're trying to, like Ms. Green mentioned about the wall, you do the wall, it's gonna be more. It's gonna be $500 more, but it's the cost that it would take for the labor on that. Then you can use that, and you don't have to match that part because you're already saying what you're going to do it in that part. When we got our wall done in Foxfire, the same thing happened. We didn't have to pay anything, because we use $500, $600 worth of labor, free labor. So we reported that in along with the money that they gave us at that time. But this thing, we do this twice. We're gonna do it twice a year. Now we plan on doing this on the second Monday. Tell your neighbors and everybody to be here for that in short meet. Introduce yourself and things. We won't have official discussion of, we won't have no zoning or anything on that night. Just a report from the people. And then we go right into fellowshipping time and having a good time. And then we are trying to do something a little bit different. We want to have a spring social. We can't say Easter social, so we say a spring social. Because the people here, they would do the parks would do what they call it, Easter egg hunt. Ours would be at our meeting that night, back in that, but that was the money for that. But just like she said, we got $345 more to use that we might want to, you want to think of something. We used our money, we give Pam credit, we were able to get the bags and different things, even after we went over the time limit to submit it, so she was able to get that for us. So anything that you think that we can use within the CAC, we already got the signs, if you want signs for your yard to let them know about the meeting. We all have that. I don't know if we have any more.
I don't know.
I don't think we have. We might use a little bit of money on that to get some of them. Because we ask you to put them in your neighborhood by your corner, let people know about the CAC meeting. Or anything else. And by the way, we are being recorded. This is something that the RCACs, all 19 in the city approved. They wanted a recording of our meeting for if anything come up for his numbers and different things that we'll be able to do things on. So Cyrus is our technical person there. He volunteered for that. Doesn't get paid. He volunteered for it, and we appreciate him doing that. And also, he was just recognized as received the neighborhood award at our thing just the other week. So we like him for that. But anything that you have any suggestions that you can let Pam know, and she will give them to me prior to the meeting of anything that you want me to bring up besides anything else. But just remember, December is our time to fellowship and have a good time, along with the reports that we get. Okay, and again, I'd like to say welcome to the Camelot Village. Want to see more of you. Be here in places and just come. Okay.
Mr. Weeks.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if there are any more of the agendas out there, but you can always, and your neighbors can always go on the city's website and see any of the archived newsletters and the minutes. And Cyrus has set up a Facebook, YouTube channel, and so you'll see all of these recordings. Cyrus uploads them onto a YouTube, and so you'll see the link on your newsletter. Okay.
Also, if you notice, we had some bags and things up there. Take a couple to your neighborhood, some of the people in your neighborhood. Tell us, hey, now you take your junk to the CAC meeting in these bags back here, okay? Is there any other discussions, any more comments, anything? Anybody need to make?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, what we originally came here for was, they're supposed to be building some townhouses down Pearl. Do y'all know anything about that? It was supposed to be like phase 3 of our neighborhood.
Phase 3?
Is this about that letter? Remember that?
Yes.
Okay, yes. So who? Oh, I think I did respond about the letter. So here's what happened. That was you. Okay, so that letter stated that those townhouses were going to be built, but that's not a rezoning. That's just a subdivision. It's just that property that's owned is just being divided to put homes on. So that's why it didn't come to the CAC, because it doesn't need to be rezoned. It's already zoned. There are no changes that need to be made. They're just informing you that, hey, we already own this property. There were homes on it, or, we're going to divide it so that we can, put homes on it. Doesn't need to be rezoned.
Can we talk to them about fixing the curve that we had talked about?
Yeah, I'm sure you can, so, and I don't, like, again, I don't think that planning is involved, but, certainly you can reach, as a homeowner, you can reach out to the developer.
Or the phone number that was on. the
Yes,
paper.
yes ma'am.
That's right. That's a good question. Yeah, you can reach out to the developer. You can corner them over there if you want to.
I mean,
Okay.
they're gonna be a part of our neighborhood. So
That's right,
I
yes.
need to talk to
You're
them.
supposed to keep the developers on tap on what you
Yeah,
want out.
sure.
Yes, within that. Okay, appreciate everybody coming out tonight. This time we officially adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much for coming out.
Thank you, sir.